William Shakespeare was an amazing author, and his work still continues to have an impact on the world today. He was a writer in his time that many people back then would probably not have known how much of an impact he would continue to have today. But can the themes of something that was created 500 years ago still be relevant today? Some of the themes represented in Shakespeare's writing include topics such as love and relationships, power, conflict, and tragedies. As we can see from just that, these are all themes we can locate in the books and even movies produced today. This was the thing about Shakespeare. He had a way of writing for which all sorts of audience would be able to relate to. Of course, the vernacular people use is a bit harder to fully understand today. The English language has come a very far length over time, so that much is pretty understandable. But Shakespeare actually contributed to a lot of what English is now, which is part of the reason behind why people are still studying his work hundreds of years later. To further enhance this argument, let's take Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet for an example. Even if you've never actually sat down to read it, you probably know what happens in the story because of how well known it is. In the beginning of the written play, the author gives readers a sense of what they should be expecting. The book reads, "The Montagues and the Capulets are on opposite sides in a blood feud and are trying to kill each other on the streets of Verona. Every time a member of one of the two families dies in the fight, his relatives demand the blood of his killer. Because of the feud, if Romeo is discovered with Juliet by her family, he will be killed. Once Romeo is banished, the only way that Juliet can avoid being married to someone is to take a potion that apparently kills her so that she is buried with the bodies of her slain relatives. In this violent, death-filled world, movement of the story from love at first sight to the union of the lovers and death seems almost inevitable." So long story short, a guy named Romeo and a girl named Juliet fall in love and end up killing themselves because they can't be together. They are what one may classify as star-crossed lovers, which basically means that they can't be together because of their differences and everything that pulls them apart. There are certainly a number of themes that we can take away from this. These themes include tragedy because of the suicides, love because of the reason behind the suicides, and an ongoing conflict overall between the Montagues and the Capulets. This is just a handful out of the amount of themes one can take away after reading this book. Now, what makes this applicable to life today? Well, these are ideas that are very prevalent in our lives today. There is love everywhere and relationships between people. There can be conflict found pretty much anywhere from any relationship to countries at war, or even animals fighting with each other because of their differences. There are tragedies everywhere, including the amount of people that are dying from the coronavirus currently, a current event related specifically to the here and now. There are so many ways that the themes found in Shakespeare's writing can be applied to our lives today in the real world. Shakespeare had such a bright mind, and the feasibility of writing about the things that we face today is almost unimaginable. William Shakespeare was an amazing author, and his works have definitely had an impact 500 years ago and still continue to have an impact on the world today.